Yo, what going on? This your boy Rock Reed, Mr. Lean on and just Bar Reed, and we back here with another one. If you ain't already, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Still ready for the ride. Let's go.
You tried to cop out and Lito wasn't trying to let me. He knew what I would do, cause you fucking disrespect me. I'm really about to spaz, this what happened when you tempt me. See, Savage a horror, she get fucked on the back block. Always be fucking capping, this bitch told no blocks. Won't get nowhere with rapping, cause this where shit stop. Ain't never see me black, and after this we real ops. All she do is drink all day and smoke weed. The bitch really be bent, like I know her daughter T. Baby daddy in the pen, and that's time that she need. Let this nigga out, I beg the judge please. Her daughter outside when she's supposed to be asleep. The little girl like 3 and only ever seen the streets. Savage don't got no life, just be fucking men for free. Only time she get papers when she's sitting next to me. Y'all wouldn't know her name, let's start keeping it a bean. I'm lyrically insane, she shouldn't have intervened. Cooked every round, now I'm spinning back. Niggas saying sad one, bet you they gon' give me that. Need to take some notes, huh? Savage need to piggyback, making bitches choke, huh? Like they suckin' to the sack, this was just a joke, huh? Laughing cause that shit is whack, put her in the yoke, I'm for real, and I bet she tap. Look, they try to battle me again, suicide, only one way this end, suicide. I do the bitch 6 in, homicide. I smoke a 6 up on the pack, bitch I'm super fried. Where my asthma pump, gotta stop smoking careers for my lungs is fucked. Like wait, what? That stick ass butt, probably wife and a brother couldn't have bust his nut. She a dirty bitch, wear a latex, you gon' burn it itch, have safe sex. Heard when she pissed, go take test, tell jokes won't never lie, everything I say is straight facts. Too many times we had to come here, too many times I had to tell this bitch she ain't the one that I fear. Why the fuck we here? This really got me mad as shit, about to fucking blink, and I promise I ain't using hips. 6 ain't at no meetings with the labels, 6 ain't getting paid to come and sit at fucking table. Unless we talking now, that's cause the bitch with me. If I wasn't here, she'd be doing it for free. Let me tell y'all something, she a musty ass, crusty ass, dirty ass, dusty ass, dumb ass bitch. How the fuck you making drill songs that talk about killing niggas, that turn around and rap about sucking some dick? Like are you kidding me? All her raps is ass, like she can never do shit with me. Trash trucks filling ass, stop the gas, y'all gon' be sick of me. Before the battle, I know I had to do epiphanies, manifested cause the dumb bitch cannot do shit with me. Say you disrespectful, I get even more. Step on bitches like a mat that's left at the door. To battle me, bitch, it's a workout, full it in your core. Fuck 6, 7, I ate it, yeah, I up the score.
Hold on. My bad for stopping y'all, man. Y'all gotta like this bitch just for that, man. She's going in, bro. It's a lot more to this shit, too, man. It's another 3 minutes of this shit.
We gon' talk about it. Bitch, you talked about my brother like I wasn't gon' spark about it. Was gon' spare you, but I'm about to say a lot of shit these niggas wouldn't dare to. I got no rap, bitch, I fear to.
I got so much energy.
She said my brother's a transformer. How you talk about my brother with an ugly ass daughter? Ain't wanna take it there, but this bitch doing out of order. And your brother music ass SOP never flip a quarter. If he do, he will get slaughtered. This bitch want dicky, say I took a nigga flow. I ain't never stooped that low. They don't know this bitch is show. Like if queens flip the coin, either way this how it go. Bitch, I'm winning any battle over anybody, bro. She said I'm typical, average, any light-skinned bitch. Take that makeup off your face, cause the brow's not it. Took out the braids and got a lace, cause they smell like shit. Never switching up the hairstyles, that's all you get. Dirty bitch, her newbie sick. She only got 2 outfits, that shit at every pick. Dirty ass Dior jacket, how that shit don't make you sick. And it's fake on top of that, it need to get ripped. I look better, I rap better, I flow. Yours still the same, you should know better. But I told you last time, I'm a fucking goat, nigga. Lito hit me for another round, knowing I'm going thicker. What Bob say? I thought that was your man, so I'm like, why? He said you here to die, I'm lyrically up in 5. After this, she gon' cry, when wish she didn't slide. She too fucking predictable, her raps gon' make me whine. She was running out of shit, so she started capping and she lied.
6, why are you lying? You started talking about this baby dad shit.
Since we hear your baby daddy used to be in my DM.
You look stupid as shit. The nigga DM'd you and said he just wanted to fuck you, and your reply was, I know.
I hate a lying ass bitch. I hate Sav. I hate everything that she do with her lame ass. She a why it gotta be you fucking face ass. The bitch a hater cause I'm greater and I got cash. Broke ass. I know this bitch so mad. And she ugly. Will never smash a strong pass. No, still stuffy. Her sinus is the fucking clash. You know what I say is true. That's why you in your fucking bag. Lyrically, she is not on my level, and I'ma show y'all why. The bitch head too big, like she a samurai. Decapitized the bitch career and now she mummified. Won't never battle again, cause the bitch got crucified. I would never lie, swear to God on her dead guys. Type of bitch to do a drill to fucking testify. She thinks she hard up in her raps, I can't identify. Cause the Zav I seen them lyrics like she would never try. The shit that she be talking about, said she gon' dig up in her personal vid, but then won't talk it out, bitch. Ain't nothing to talk about. You the type of hoe to wear some shorts when it's hawking out. Or the type to X for the low and go another route. Or the type to be approving you always doubt, or the type to lyrically get your ass beat and say that shit don't count. Fix your face, little bitch. Don't pout, say I'm the type of bitch to do her taxes wrong. Y'all know she sound like a nigga, she better stop it with this girly tone. This bitch illiterate like Patrick, no brain in the dome. Or like a kid with a free crib when they parents ain't home. Say I'm the type of bitch to bring a brush when you ask for a comb. That's the type of dumb shit I do not condone. I really run it, bitch, with a microphone. I'm giving hit after hit, they don't sing your song. And you know that, that's why this bitch is mad. I got it in her bag, this battle she cannot brag. I ain't keep you fucking Yano, baby. I'm getting back, and I come back every time on anything that I lack. Keep a stack, she ain't win the last round, give me that. Fuck, she racing on the track, can't even catch her breath. Her lyrics cannot match because I'm bringing all the gas. She sat down in that seat, not knowing that what's her ass, cause I'm different. And I'm mad because y'all think she competition. Be spazzing, I don't think y'all wanna make my hit list. Jurassic, bitch, I am the biggest ever mentioned. Huh? Stop.
Man, she was on that girl top, like.
So I actually think politically, women have shown that they have a lot more power than men have. And I'm talking about just in terms of political movements. The most recent I can think of is the Me Too movement, right? If a bunch of women get together and complain about a man and refer to the patriarchy and scream, generally speaking, let me know if you agree, the media will celebrate that. If a bunch of men got together and were shrieking and speaking about women, generally speaking, the media would call them all white supremacists and say that we had a misogyny problem and that things were really wrong in society. Women are allowed to be more vocal in general about problems than men are.
Well, let me speak to that. When we're talking about government and media, these are two different things. So, under the denotative definition of a patriarchy, by the percentages that are occupied in the government, which is majority male, defines us as a patriarchy. Now, when it comes to for capitalism, for marketing purposes and control, for capital and revenue, that is a totally different conversation. But who's making the laws? I don't think that women are the ones voting to have their reproductive rights taken away, where you have rape, incest, and all of these things excluded to force women to be able to have. I don't think women in government would largely vote against their own interests because it's majority male, patriarchy.
I think I love that point. Are women allowed to vote?
Oh, of course they are.
Who's voting that patriarchy in then, out of curiosity?
No, I totally agree. And you want to know why? Because there are so many women who think like you submit to the idea of men ruling everything. And your ideology is spread across a lot of women who also falsely believe to vote against their own interests just to complain about it in the end. You know, earlier you said that, women would be much more happier working at home. But don't you agree that it's human nature to want things that you don't have? Mm-hmm. So during the 1950s, which is something that you constantly bring up, it wasn't until 1994 that it was legally illegal to beat your wife. And so what we're dealing with is people wanting something, and then when they get it, they're not happy with it, and then they have to revoke that idea for something else. And so what you're saying is that women vote for these things because they have the same mentality as you.
Okay. So you're acknowledging that women have the freedom to vote.
Yes.
And you're saying that women are still existing mentally, even with the freedom to vote.
Correct.
They are voting men in because we are still victims of...
No, I don't believe in victimhood. I believe in lack of education and lack of knowledge, because one of the things that you also say...
Do you think that it could just be that more men are running for positions of office?
No, not necessarily, because remember, the United States, the average reading comprehension of people in the United States is 6th grade. So we're not dealing with educated people. Lack of education is the cause for what we see in the world. And if we educate the women better, because a nation can rise no higher than its woman, and if she reading and comprehending at a 6th grade level and popping out a lot of kids, because the brokest people in the world pop out the most kids. So if we have those people voting, of course they're going to vote against their interests because they're voting for some utopian society that will never exist.
Okay, so that's why you think Kamala lost.
This ain't even about Kamala.
You're talking about women. But we had an opportunity.
Yeah, go ahead.
We had running, and we had a female running, and we actually showed that Trump increased the amount of women who voted for him, right? So I'm asking you, do you believe that the reason that happened was because women became less educated during that time?
They've always been less educated. Did you know that UNESCO says that that 2/3 of the 7.7 million illiterate adults is women? Illiterate. And we have 6th grade educated people voting. And guess who? Guess the dominant population is white women. And so guess what? Now you have to add a race element into that, which you already know exists, because we as black folks, we ain't the dominant people voting people in. Okay, so now when we have to go into white supremacy and feminism, now you have to look at the mind of the people who actually have economic success and what they're voting for, because classism actually matters as well. So I'm sorry, but a lot of people vote based on their feelings and not based on policy.
Pause, guys.
Yes.
Sorry, you've been voted out by the majority.
Thank you for the respectful conversation.
Man, they were cooking on that one. They were cooking.
Experience and statistically.
Other than, can we do something other than just period tomorrow? If men's jobs disappeared tomorrow, society would crumble. If women's jobs disappeared tomorrow, society would be fine.
Oh, really? Who's going to raise all the children?
Do you think society discriminates more against men or women, or do you think it's equal?
I think that they discriminate more against women, but that's not to say that men aren't discriminated against in some aspects.
Okay, how are women more discriminated against?
As I've said before, in my own personal experience and statistically.
Other than, can we do something other than just people say mean words to me? Because men, by the time they're 22, somebody said a mean word to them, usually it's a woman. So anything other than somebody said something I don't like.
Abortion bans. Can you name a law that controls what men can do and access healthcare and the healthcare that men can access? Mm-hmm. Is there any laws that control men's healthcare access? Well,
if you want to talk about men's body, men are required to go into selective service. So if there is a wartime, they are required to be drafted.
Yeah, and I think that the draft should be abolished.
So you asked for a law, there's a law. There's a way that women's bodies aren't protected. There's a way men's bodies aren't protected.
No, so it's actually, my question was different. My question was, can you name a law that restricts men's access to health care?
That restricts men's access to health care? No, not off the top of my head.
So there you go. That's one discriminatory
practice. How are women
practice.
Restricted access to health care? You can drive to another state and get an abortion.
Yeah, well, then that's also not taking into account like socioeconomic factors, right? Because not every person has the ability or the funds or the time to be able to just cross state lines to gain access. We shouldn't have different healthcare access in different states. Your geographical location should not determine your access to a human right.
Okay, well, again, luckily for women, we have access to birth control, abstinence, and even you can even track your cycle and not get pregnant. So I think there's plenty of options beforehand that it really isn't an excuse if you have an unplanned pregnancy.
So actually about 50% of unplanned pregnancies used protection, and so that's just an incorrect statement.
Then you should learn to use it better.
That's not how that works.
The other thing is after the kid's born, you could argue that it's an equally irresponsible move when men and women have unprotected sex or there's some problem with the birth control. Fine, equally irresponsible. But after the woman has more control, she has the right to she's the only one who gets to decide if she takes a plan B. She's the only one that gets to decide to put him on child support or alimony if they're married. Men don't have a right to their wallets after the kid is born.
Yeah, so pregnancy involves your body and your internal organs, and that is worth more than any money.
Yeah, but that's 9 months, a year. What about the rest of the time? What about 18 years after?
Right, and so then there's like 2 years after that you're breastfeeding, and then there's the unequal division of childcare and domestic labor. So it's so much more than 9 months. But to go back, we cannot minimize that 9 months. Having your body be not your own for 9 months is 9 months too long.
Yeah, but there are men dying when they go and do their jobs. And they're not complaining about it.
They can get a different job.
No, because men understand that somebody has to do it.
Yeah, they don't have to do it.
They understand. Well, that's why it's admirable that they do it anyway and they don't complain. And that's what I keep going back to is what feminists tend to want is they want all of the credit and they want to over exaggerate their problems.
So I would actually like to go back to the comparison you made of pregnancy and men going to work. Do you think those two things are the same?
I think that a man going to a dangerous job is far worse than a woman being pregnant.
And do you think that the majority of men
far more dangerous, I'll say. That's more accurate. Better and good is like, it's subjective, right?
Yeah, and as I've said before, I think that we should have better safety protocols and we should improve the safety of all workers. So I think that should be addressed. But also the majority of men...
but it isn't, right? Like,
right, but are you arguing for it to be?
Here's the difference, okay? So feminists have a tendency to think that if we complain, things will just happen. And I'm more realistic, where I know that just because we say, oh, it should be better, well, it's not. And men understand that because they have had to deal with that reality from a young age.
You recognize that the only reason you have a microphone and you have a show is because feminists complained because we wanted a voice.
That's
because
not true.
It actually is.
It's not true. There's writers, there's female writers in the 1800s, 1700s.
And they had to write under male pseudonyms.
It's not true.
It is true.
It's not true.
Well, you can say it's not true, but it's history and it's statistics.
That's not true.
It is. We used
there
to
were
not
women in
have a
power.
voice.
We had Cleopatra. We had women in power throughout all of history. There are examples of them.
When were
the
women?
first female property owner was in the 1600s in the United States.
When were women allowed to have their own bank accounts?
Women were allowed to have their own bank accounts in 19. What does that have to do with writing? You're changing the topic.
No, I'm not.
You're changing the topic because I'm right. They were allowed to write. They were.
You're the one who brought up female writers. That wasn't the question.
Go ahead. So, sometime in the 1900s, I can't remember the year.
Yeah, it was like in the 1970s when women were allowed to have bank accounts. So when we're talking about women,
what's happened since we got bank accounts? We own 80% of the world's debt. There's a reason people did things the way they did.
You don't think that women should be able to have their own bank accounts?
I don't think they shouldn't have bank accounts. I think everyone should have the right, and they do. But there's a reason. I think when we look at the past, we have to look at the reason that people did things. And one of the reasons is women are very irresponsible with money. They own 80% of the world's debt, even though they make less money than men.
So did you know that the majority of household finances are regulated and controlled by women?
Yeah, I knew that. We make 80% of consumer buying decisions.
Yeah.
So that's what I said. They spend.
And
that's what I said. They spend money.
Because
they spend money they don't have.
We do have the money.
Not anymore. I mean, the average woman out of college has $30,000 worth. How much debt do you have? You have to have six figures coming out of med school.
I do have 6 figures of debt,
exactly.
and the student debt. Yeah, because
the thing is, in your profession, I mean, on average, women leave the medical profession when they have a kid or within 5 years. So odds are you won't pay it off, and it makes. I'm not saying you personally. I hope you do. Right? I'm not wishing it one way or another, but statistically, women make their debt someone else's problem.
Men do the same thing.
No, they don't. So they looked at women paying off their debt and men paying off their college debt, and men have been making payments towards it the last 5 years and women haven't.
So it's funny because you just mentioned how women will leave their careers because they have to take care of children, and that probably plays a large role into why they're not able to pay back their student debt compared to men who continue to be a part of the workforce even after they have children. Do you see how those two things might be correlated?
No, because women aren't having kids anymore. That would have been the case, maybe the case before, but now they're not really having children.
We are still having children. That's
on average, it's like 1.5 now. So, I mean, you have one kid, you can put it in daycare, you can still work.
You can put it in daycare.
Sorry, his or her.
Yeah. See, and this is the problem is when we see people as commodities instead of actual people, that's where we run into this thing of I don't care how you feel, you make stupid decisions, instead of taking a nuanced perspective and the complexity of the human experience and recognizing that there are so many things that contribute into these cherry-picked statistics.
Well, you think that the world owes you understanding, and it doesn't.
I think that it does. I think that we owe everybody understanding. I think that in order for me, so you know what? I think that this is something we need to clarify.
Yeah, go ahead.
I partake in these conversations because I want a better world. I develop my opinions based on how I think, or based on what I think is going to improve the human condition and improve people's quality of life. Why do you take part in these conversations?
I like to report on what's going on.
Okay, so you have no desire to improve the world and to be an advocate for change and progression.
It would be nice, but I don't expect it.
See, and for me, one of my favorite quotes is the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. And you can call me a dreamer.
They're the ones who do not.
I mean, historically, you're wrong.
I don't think so.
Martin Luther King had a dream, didn't he?
Okay, but how many guys tried to be Martin Luther King and failed?
I don't know, man. What's y'all thought? Other than that, man, I'm going to end it right there, man. Appreciate y'all for sitting here watching it with me. Hey, if you ain't already, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we out.